Hi, it's Anthony Gaddy here, and I'm really excited to share with you this four secret system because not only is this the very system that we use to close $500,000 of business in Green Ant Marketing within the first 6 months in business, but it's also by now the very same system that a number of our clients have successfully implemented, and we're now starting to teach this system in the not-for-profit sector. Also, give this some food for thought for you. We used to charge people $3,000 just to see the system because it took us a while to tease it out in all its simplicity. But the moment we stopped charging prospective clients to see the system and just gave it away for free, that was a turning point at which we actually experienced an overwhelming demand for our services. So the key question I got for you is, what cool ideas, systems, or I'll even refer to them as secrets, are you sitting on which if you just expose them and allowed a lot more people to see them, would dramatically increase the demand for your business and your services? Let's jump straight in and have a look. Typically, when we are asked to consult organizations, it's the managing director or the owner usually bringing us in, might be a very small business, to answer the question of how do we get a hell of a lot more leads and how do we grow the business? Well, I ask them by how much do you want to grow. Usually they tell me double digit figures percentage wise. I say, okay, cool, you're looking for a strong growth. Before I share any ideas with you, how do you think you're going to grow the business? The overwhelmingly popular response that I get is, I'm going to hire more salespeople. Because we all know it's a numbers game, and if we can get more salespeople, they can make more sales calls, get more appointments, more proposals, and eventually one or two of those will drop through, right? Well, here's secret number one. That is the most expensive and potentially least successful and effective way to get more leads and to grow the business. I recommend that you start a little earlier in the piece and think about your marketing strategy and how you can build from your strategy into some tactics. Now, what do I mean when I say strategy? I'm not thinking about a 50-page document. I'm thinking maybe about a 4 or 5-page document where as a minimum you capture these key points. The first one is why. In other words, why are you in business? Why are you doing this thing? And try and answer that question above and beyond the money. Because everyone is in business, most people are in business to make profits. But why do you want to make profits? What will you do with the additional profits? This might be really interesting for some other people and might really turbocharge all of your marketing efforts. I'm actually going to recommend that you go and watch this video by a guy called Simon Sinek. So you can look this up on YouTube or you can go to TED.com and just have a look for Simon Sinek, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, where in 18 short minutes he'll talk you through his whole system of why. In our personal experience, if you implement this within your business, i.e. you clarify why and you start to put it in your marketing, your presentations, your meetings, etc., you will experience more success and you will get a lot more leads than you're currently getting. Next key thing you've got to capture in your strategy, amongst your strategy and weapons, is your goals. So what are your exact goals? How much are you trying to grow by? What percentage sales? What percentage profit? Be very clear, because this is you naming the landing point for this aeroplane that you're going to try and fly. You've got to be very clear around exactly what's the destination, where do you want to land this thing. Next key thing for you to look at is your differentiators. In other words, what is it that's different about your business that's useful to your prospects and your clients? If you're not sure about these, just ask some of your existing clients. A lot of them will be able to help answer that question very accurately. Just ask them, why did they award the business to you when they asked you to go ahead, when they assigned the business to you? Why did they do it? Next one is such an important one. It's actually your target niches. In other words, who's your target audience? Exactly what kinds of people and businesses are you trying to target? Are you trying to attract? And think about it this way. Think about, everyone understands a fishing analogy. You don't need to be a brilliant fishing person to understand that if you decide which fish you're going for, you'd quite quickly be able to determine, do you need to go out to sea or do you need to look for them in the river systems? And once you know where to look for them, you'd also know what kind of bait you need to put on the end of the hook. Same applies in marketing. You need to know who you're going after so you can work out offline and online where they hang out, and also do some research. What kind of problems are they experiencing? So if you look them up on various social media groups, just jump into Google, type in the name of your target audience and then the word groups, put all of that in inverted commas and click enter. It will show you a number of groups and forums where your target audience is hanging out. You can see what some of their problems are, what's topical, what are they discussing. That tells you which problems you need to solve if you really want to attract their attention and attract lots more of them. Final piece I'm going to recommend to you in the strategy and weapons is that you get an elevator pitch. Elevator pitch, in 30 seconds or less, you need to have something ready and prepared to say that's going to entice someone to want to do business with you so that they go, wow, that's interesting. Do you have a business card? And once you've got all of those things ready, you're actually ready to go ahead with some tactics. And the tactics is where you're going to get most of your leads. These are doing things. These are actions and activities that will actually generate leads. I'll give you some examples here. You could run an invitation-only networking lunch, get 6 or 10 people together. Next time you're around, you get 15 people together. Next time, 20 people, and find ways to grow your community. You could run an education session. So keep thinking, how can I add value to my existing community, and how can I thereby grow the community, get them to refer new people into the community? Run an education forum on a topic of interest. Either you deliver the education or get an external specialist. Make sure you keep tackling topics that are interesting and that are problems for your target audience. Online, you can run webinars. You can also join other people's groups. You can comment on people's forums. You can use these as tactics to bring people back to your website, where ideally you offer for them to come and get something from you. All of these are tactics. These are doing things. Notice I haven't mentioned the word cold call here, and I haven't mentioned the word advertise here. You actually don't need to do either of those in order to attract new leads. Online advertising, you can try out whether it's Google AdWords or do an ad campaign on a platform like Facebook or LinkedIn. Make sure you monitor any of these things that you do to work out what sort of a result are you getting back. And the reason you execute a number of these tactics is so that you can get more leads. Once you've got the leads, here's a really important thing. You've got to actually nurture the leads. It's all very well that you find the new leads and work really hard to find them, but once you have leads, some of these people won't yet be ready to buy from you. So you've got to make sure that you keep educating them, keep drip feeding them what I call nuggets of value. And through that process, ideally, you want to automate as much as possible. So if you record a video and upload to YouTube, this is now a video that can be accessed by lots and lots of people at a cost to you of zero. Make sure you make these things shareable. Come up with 5 key tips. What are the 5 key tips that anyone who's even thinking about buying your services needs to know? Come up with a list of the 10 questions you need to ask. Make sure when you do these things, white papers, ebooks, any of these things that you're going to offer to people online, that you don't outright self-promote, and actually stay away from promoting your business. Just go for adding value and educating. Make sure that on any of these materials, it's very obvious how to contact you. You can put links to your website, to LinkedIn profile, to Facebook fan pages. Make sure it's really easy to get back in touch with you, and make sure that you have a steady flow of these nuggets, because what you're looking to do is to use the social media platforms, because they give you a very big megaphone to broadcast your value and your core messages. They are not in and of themselves the solution. They are part of the platforms that allow you to connect with networks and groups of people that otherwise might have been a bit harder to access. Here's another key secret for you. You don't need to master all the tactics over here and all the social media platforms in one hit. If you notice, any athletes, specialists, any elite athletes, they typically run one particular race, maybe 2. There are very few brilliant decathletes, heptathletes. Most people are not brilliant at all the races when they try and do all the disciplines. But if you look at someone like Usain Bolt, he's a very good sprinter. He mastered the 200. He went across to the 100. He's got those 2 under his belt, and he's really successful. You don't need to be an outright standout like that. And in fact, you don't need to master all the platforms. You just need to become really good at least one of them. Become really good at least one tactic. I have a particular client who's really good with the structured networking lunches. They regularly get 20 guests, and they regularly get another 20 or 25 guests, so rotating through the system. So they're regularly having 45 people, of which 20, 25 are new prospects each time round. And they're really good at that one. They're not brilliant at 7, 12, 15 marketing tactics. So don't worry, don't feel like you've been left behind by the whole social media thing. Just work out which platform, which tactic is going to be most useful. And in order to work out that, just ask yourself, who's my target audience and where do they hang out, and what are some of the most accessible and enjoyable tactics or platforms for them, because they will attend or they will engage with things that they enjoy. You want to drip feed and nurture your prospects so that you can get some VIPs. And what's a VIP? Well, it's not in the traditional sense. I use VIP to name a very interested prospect. This is someone who by now knows who you and your business are. They've received some of your nuggets. They've enjoyed the value. They've come to know you, to trust you a little bit. And typically you know who these VIPs are because their hand shoots up and they want to contact you. Many of them will actually contact you and ask for a meeting. At that point, that's where you want to engage your valuable and in fact very expensive sales resources, whether it's you or a member of your team. And at this point, you want to use a strategic interview in 60 minutes or less. Ask the right questions so you can qualify in or out, i.e. we can definitely add value and help you, or no, we can't. And what you're looking for through this process is to then develop proposals where it's a qualified opportunity, a knockout proposal that closes a sale. And that's the end of the marketing system, right? Now, the very next step, I say, is actually the most important step, because this is where your overall marketing will succeed or fail. And funny enough, it's actually the delivery, because right here in the delivery of the solution, this is where the new customer is making a decision as to whether their leap of faith up here, when they sign the contract and decide to go ahead with the sale, down in the delivery, they're deciding whether that leap of faith was a good one or a bad one. If you deliver against the promises that you've made, they will be very comforted. They will trust you even more. And if you couple that with good customer service, well, you're going to end up with delighted customers. And of course, it's a lot easier to account manage delighted customers and to make more sales and in fact more profits from the existing customer base than it is to keep hunting down new customers. So that's another very important distinction to make. A final distinction for you is if you are short of time, and a lot of people and businesses are becoming increasingly short of time, you want to work out within this system which discrete area or components can you outsource. In other words, name the outcome and have somebody else deliver the outcome for you according to some specific criteria. You could think about getting some help on delivering some of the tactics here. You can think about outsourcing the creative writing for coming up with your nuggets, with your blog, with your white papers, your ebooks. All of those things can be outsourced in this nurture your leads component. And here's just a couple of places where you might want to go to engage some very useful and valuable resources if you want to outsource some of these things. So Odesk is one. Odesk.com, freelancer.com is another one that we've used regularly. This Fiverr, Fiverr.com, is a very interesting site, because the interesting thing here is that every gig, every piece that you might outsource, every job in there is exactly $5. So you can't be charged more than $5 for a job. There's some amazing talent in there. There's some really, really cool things. I'm actually going to close off this video with a short clip. I'll call it our musical signature for the end of a video, which I acquired off Fiverr.com. So think about this little signature and just remember to yourself that this signature cost us a total of $5. What other pieces of this marketing puzzle could you outsource, save time, and ideally in many cases get a better job than if you're tempted to do it yourself? Good luck with using the 4 Secrets system. I hope it's been useful for you. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, so ideally start with your strategy and then start with one really simple tactic. Go for the one that's easiest and most comfortable for you, and good luck. I look forward to hearing of your successes and to catching up with you next time.